you're tired of the struggle, feel like you're on your own, just take a look around you. You'll see you're not alone. Might look bad now, but that's gonna change. Your time will come, you'll be back in the game. I've seen life change, turn on a dime. Just keep on taking one step at a time. One step at a time. I have experienced, yes, I've been down. There'll be some time life slapped me around. Nowhere to turn, scared out of my mind. Just keep on taking one step at a time. One step at a time. One step at a time. Just keep on taking.
talking about your woman. I just swear you just ought to see mine. He's talking about your woman. I just swear you just ought to see mine. Long black pretty hair. Oh man, I just swear she's fine. The way she walks, blind man opens his eyes to see. The way she walks, blind man opens his eyes to see. Feels so good. Oh, I know she belongs to me. Serve me right to suffer, serve me right to be alone. Serve me right to suffer, serve me right to be alone.
July 29th, 21st evening meeting. Come to order. Have roll call, please.
Carlson,
Here.
Maniscalco, Dingfelder, Citro,
Here.
Vieira, Miranda,
Here.
and Goods.
Here.
We have a physical coin present. Got you.
Move to open public hearing. Second.
Mr. Miranda has opened the public hearing. Mr. Citro is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Mr. Shelby, do you need to say anything to the public in reference to the public comment section, sir?
Well, it may be actually part of Ms. Feely's presentation, just the language that's contained within the agenda states that this meeting is a special call meeting, and it also discusses the purpose. I believe that will be explained to council.
All right.
I see.
Ms. Feely, you're recognized.
Good evening, Chairman Goods and honorable members of City Council. Abby Feely, Director of Development and Growth Management, and with me this evening is Kayon Henderson, our Interim Manager of Housing and Community Development. We came before you at the beginning of June to kick off the Housing's annual action plan for our funding sources, and since that time, we have conducted an RFA for requests for services, and we're going to get into some numbers with you here tonight for our upcoming fiscal year 22 allocations. Before we do that, I did just want to take a moment. I know that each week we spend a lot of time discussing affordable housing, housing services, owner-occupied rehab, many of the programs that the city does offer. And a lot of times we don't put into perspective how many households and families that we're actually touching. So in our last year, in our fiscal 20 year, we were able to help and provide services to 3,777 households, equaling just roughly close to $10 million. It was $9.9 million that the action plan identified and served. So in fiscal year 21, and we have just about 60 days left in that program year, because that will wrap up at the end of September, but we were able to increase that to 4,000 households and just about $12.5 million. And the plan that Kayon's going to share with you tonight, you will see that in fiscal year 22, we are proposing to increase that again, helping close to 4,221 households and raising that amount to close to $16.5 million. So I I can't say enough about Kayon and her team's efforts as they continue to really grow the city's efforts in the services we provide. And I will turn it over to Kayon now. Thank you. And I wanted to thank you for calling this special call tonight. I did forget to say that. I know that as part of our public participation plan and our commitments, we do have one evening hearing that is tonight, and we appreciate the consideration to hold that this evening. So thank you.
You're quite welcome. It's good to see you, Kayon. I haven't seen you in a while, looking good. You're recognized.
Thank you. Good evening. Can I have permission to share my screen, please? Just want to be sure. Can everyone see the PowerPoint?
We can see if you can blow it up for us, if we can see it.
Okay.
There you go.
As Abby stated, we're here to talk about our annual action plan for fiscal year 22. I'm Kayon Henderson, the interim Housing and Community Development Manager. It is good to be seen after not being physically here for a little bit. We're going to go through, just talk about really what the purpose of the action plan is, what we're looking for the upcoming year to look like, and what we're proposing, what some of those funding source and programs are, what really is left over of the timeline so far, and any public input, should there be any, at the end that we'll also ask for additional input. So I just kind of give a little bit really what we're going to be talking about today for the overview. Our action plan is what we submit to HUD annually. It's part of a 5-year consolidated plan. The city is in the 4th year of that plan, so next year we'll be responsible for really going back through and looking at what our next 5 years would be proposed to be. So we're in year 4, and the funding source is all federal. We don't have any of the state funds in this action plan, so none of our SHIP funds go through here. And so this is just specifically for our community development block grant, our emergency solutions grant, which are specific for homelessness, our housing opportunity for people with AIDS and HIV, our HOPWA program, and then our home program, which is Home Investment Partnership. Although SHIP is not a part of our estimated funding for federal, I still like to put it in there so you can kind of see the bigger picture as we leverage some of those funds. So this is just an estimated award funding that we plan to allocate throughout the next fiscal year, which is approximately $16.5 million. Our annual allocation for each of these are not what you're seeing here. However, what we've done is gone back through and added what program income we had and any prior year funds that we may have had that were not yet expended. As a result, this is what we have to go through for the next year and just allocate for some programs. I did a little bit more of a breakdown here just so you can see what some of those programs will look like, and we'll go through a little bit more as we talked about the request for application. And so here, these are some of the housing projects we'll continue to fund: housing counseling, our down payment assistance. Generally, we fund about $1 million. We've had such a big undertake for that this year and had to increase that we're now going to allocate a little bit more, which is 1.5. Our HOPWA program, the ones for HIV and AIDS for housing, that is the biggest grant we receive. However, that grant is for 4 counties. We oversee that program for not just Hillsborough, but Hillsborough, Pinellas, Pasco, and Hernando. We have to do an allocation of public services, which is 15% of our CDBG allocation. So we generally fund about $500,000 annually. Then we have some homeless programs. Our ESG funding is not necessarily the biggest funding. We get about $250,000. And so we've added some additional funding from our home funds to help with those homeless services. And so our Home TBRA program, which is tenant-based rental assistant, kind of leverages those who are homeless and add to the pot of fund that we get for ESG. Specific for this year, what we're looking to fund really with our CDBG allocation, which really kind of helps to really make sure that our community are being served. We're expanding economic opportunities for those who are low income, moderate income family and households, really to create a suitable living environment for them. And this might be housing and it could be services. And so I'll go through a little bit what our public service activities look like, our public facilities, and our housing counseling. We released our request for application earlier this year, so we got new agencies or agencies that were currently funded but have new programs or a quantifiable increase to their programs. As a result, this is where we've panned out with the agencies that applied. And so these are the 5 programs that we're proposing to fund for the upcoming year with our CDBG public services. And that each of those agencies will get $100,000. When we go through our application, we ask them to match dollar for dollar. So that allows us to assist more individuals throughout the year. So they usually will match it from other sources of funds that they receive. Our housing counseling agencies, we have 3 HUD-approved housing counseling agencies that we're working with. We've been working with these agencies. They're in the 2nd year of their 3rd-year agreement. Solidas House and Housing and Education Alliance, both are getting $100,000. REACH, which is Real Estate Education and Community Housing, they'll get $75,000. So for our home ownership program, we fund these 3 agencies and they process the application on our behalf. We also released an application for public facilities this year. From that, we had Sunrise Children's Services and the Skills Center, and both agencies have been funded by us in the past. Sunrise Children's Services had us out there shortly after we funded them, really just to kind of show us how our funding was able to help them. They had kids with special needs, and so something that probably seems quite simple to us, they had to build in a covered area so as parents came and picked up, they weren't getting wet as they were wheeling their kids out in wheelchairs. And so just being able to provide some additional public facilities this year was really nice. We did set out to fund $1.5 million. We fund a little bit over $1 million, so we do have some additional funding, and we'll release another RFA for public facilities later this year. Our Emergency Solutions Grant, we are in year 2, we're going into year 2, I should say, of our 3-year agreement also, and so this is specific for homeless related services. We are funding emergency shelter operations as well as rapid rehousing. We have 2 agencies that are funded for rapid rehousing, which is Dawn and Family Services and Catholic Charities. In the Spring of Tampa Bay, our DV shelter, we also fund annually. We've been funding these 3 agencies quite for some time, just based on who actually submits an application. And so we're in year 2 of that application, and we try to do 3-year agreements with a lot of these agencies so we don't disrupt services for families in the chance that they were switching from one agency to the other. So it just kind of helps with some stability. Our HOPWA program, I discussed a little bit earlier, the city is responsible for implementing this program for 4 counties, Pasco, Pinellas, Hernando, and Hillsborough. We get the largest amount here for Hillsborough County, and so we then oversee for the other counties. It really helps to maintain stable housing for this population. It's able to also assist with resource identification, where we have someone who's funded for resource identification, which is kind of a centralized hub. As people need services and need to know what is available, then they can kind of reach out to that person and know what's available for the 4 counties. We do repair for facilities to help with permanent supportive housing. Again, with this program, we can do tenant-based rental assistance program, do some supportive services and operating costs. And so that helps to drive down what that affordability amount is for those families. So the agency will then tap what they can charge them for rent with our support for the HOPWA funding. This is going to be the biggest amount that you'll see as far as how many agreements we generally have. This just lists the agreements that we have. Every year, Bowley Centers over in St. Pete gets the single largest amount from this grant, but they also typically serve about 130 to 140 families with tenant-based rental assistance vouchers. However, this is just a breakdown of how we got to that 4.3 million for the HIV agencies that we fund. And then the last grant program that we have is our home program, which can help us to build multifamily new construction. So whereas we have CDBG in the forefront that can help with public facilities and kind of helping with some of that rehab, our home funds is the only funds that we have federal-wise that can do new construction. We did an RFP for new construction also for our home funds this year, and we set out to fund $1 million. I'm happy to say we did have a proposer who submitted. It's Archway Partners, and they are the lead in this. They are partnering with Tampa Housing Authority as well as Signature Property Development. From this $1 million that we're able to fund, they are going to add an additional 100 affordable units to the inventory that will be capped at 80% or below of the area median income. This slide really just kind of tells you where we are. We've put check marks where we've really accomplished already. We're here today for the just to kind of discuss what that public hearing will be. I think what is also missing, and I apologize, I just noticed that, is our August 6th date where we come back. Today we will accept any public comments that there are, and then we'll add them to the action plan. And then we'll come back before you just so that we can get that final approval from council so that we can submit this plan to HUD on August 15th. And then for all of the new programs, we're looking to start for October 1st for our upcoming fiscal year. If
Yes,
there are,
August 5th. We'll be back before you, council, with the resolution and the full plan, which Kaon provided copies of to you, depending on anything we hear tonight or modifications that we might need to make. But then that would be your approval next Thursday for transmittal to HUD.
if there are any public comments, I ask for them to be emailed to me if they're not recorded today at this meeting, and they can still come in by write-in to the address that's listed there at 4900 West Lemon Street, Tampa, Florida 33609. This slide is really not part of your presentation. I really, as I was preparing for tonight's presentation, wanted to kind of really bring some of these numbers before you. I think sometimes it's easy for us to talk about what's affordable and what isn't. And as I was preparing my presentation, really thought about how we've helped families come through. We have one gentleman came through our program. He had aged out of foster care and became homeless and went through our Home TBRA program. Through that program, somehow kind of really got connected to a lot of staff here and found a family and really wanted to own his own home. And so we've assisted him from our homeless program, and now we've transitioned him on the other end where he's actually a home buyer. And so now he's owned his own home, and now him and his family live there. I just wanted to add some numbers. I think sometimes when we add what that maximum sales price is for our program, it sounds scary. And when we say 240,000, a lot of families feel like I can't contribute to anything that costs that much. So I've just added like a sales price, what these amounts were, what the rent amount was originally, what these individuals' mortgage payment amount became, what they've contributed in order to achieve that amount, and just what the bedroom makeup is. And so this really is to show that with homeownership, which, you know, a lot of times I realize everybody's not meant to be a homeowner, but with homeownership, a lot of times we are getting a more affordable rate than we are with rent. And so I just like to put more of a humanistic approach to it so that we can see that as we're going through, we are really trying to change lives and really get these numbers that are really attainable by those who are on fixed income, so that they don't feel like they can't achieve something that really is out there for them to achieve.
May I ask a question, Mr. Chairman?
Sure.
Can we go right at that, where you're comparing the rent amount to the mortgage payment? Is the mortgage payment including the taxes and the insurance on that payment or not?
Yes, it includes the taxes
It
and
includes
insurance.
it. Fantastic then.
Yeah, and these that I'm showing you happened so far in fiscal year 21, in the current fiscal year we're in.
Thank you. Thank you. Excuse me for interrupting you.
No, that's okay. That concludes my presentation. So if you have any questions, I'm here to
I have
answer.
one, we'll take it, Mr. Maniscalco, you can recognize, sir.
Yes, sir, just a few comments. You know, if you look at the rents in the city of Tampa, especially in the last 90 days, they're not even close to this.
32%, brother.
Huh?
32% increase.
Not even that. I mean, apartments have gone from 1,500 to 1,800 in 30 days. Several complexes, they're not offering specials because the demand is so high. But rents in the city of Tampa within the city limits are out of control. I overheard a gentleman the other day saying his landlord wanted to raise his rent 15% or 20%, and he's moving to St. Petersburg. He already moved. So, but it's just, it's insane. And what's interesting is different conversation is a bank won't approve you for a mortgage of $800, $900, but you can get an apartment for $1,600. It just doesn't make any sense. So when we look at, the city is trying to help, but the market demand is out of control. So many people are moving here that I don't see us keeping up, especially how the housing market is. It's insane, and even the rental market. It's another person the other day asking if they could find a one-bedroom in South Tampa, and this is a person with a real estate background is struggling to find a place down in South Tampa. So it's just story after story regarding housing. I just don't know how we're going to keep up. Thank you.
I saw Mr. Dingfield had first. I'll go to Mr. Carlson. Mr. Dingfield, you're recognized.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Abby and Kayon. So, Kayon, two things. Kayon, the mayor proposed when she first got elected, with great support from council, to build over the 8 years, hopefully, that she'll be in office, 20,000 new affordable units, or to help build. And
Only 10.
I think it's 10.
only 10? I thought I could have sworn I read 20 somewhere. But anyway, all right, let's be modest and call it 10. So how do we get there, and how are we doing so far? We're 2/8 of the way in, a quarter of the way in. What's that plan?
So, Kayon and I actually met on this on Monday with our teams just to kind of get together. I think it's interesting because it's not a barometer. You're going to see change very rapidly, given that it takes 18 to 24 months to permit and construct and occupy something. So we're off to a good start, and with projects such as the Rome Yard and the Army Navy store and others that are coming online, as well as this year, you may be familiar, the city has a memorandum of understanding with the county for the 9% tax credit that is allocated from Florida Housing Finance Corporation. This is our year for that 9% application selection, and we're in that RFP process right now. In the next few years, we will again have 2 more of those 9% projects. So it is a combination of that. We're also looking at other opportunities for public-private partnerships that will be coming forward. And then through our implementation of our infill program, infill phase 1, and currently infill phase 2 was just awarded phase 2A, which was another 14 single-family lots. We have another selection of lots that we're going to be working to RFP again. So we're coming at this from multiple facets, not just new construction, because as you know, in our construction rate of even just general market rate, we don't build that many units in that time period. So we're looking at this from a number of different approaches, and we're getting it underway. We've had many come online with the West River projects that Tampa Housing Authority is doing, that Mercy Oaks that's finishing, Madison Highlands that's currently under construction. Our inventory is definitely growing, but it's not something you're going to see changing on a daily or monthly or even yearly basis, just to the pure duration of construction. The other thing we are looking at and working toward is trying to activate some of our existing inventory. So that can come in the form of our owner-occupied rehab and ensuring that units are remaining affordable and remaining safe and habitable in a way for our families to continue to reside in them. we're also looking at existing apartment complexes that have inventory and the potential to activate some of that inventory into affordable units. So I think you'll be seeing that being explored as well. I know that's a long-winded answer, but it's a big amount. When you said 20, I think you saw Kayon's face drop. Because 10,000 is a lot of units, but we're aggressive. We are to the task, and we're going to hit that goal.
Well, I'm sure I can speak on behalf of council and as council's representative on the Affordable Housing Advisory Council, AHAC. You know, that we're all supportive of all of these ideas. I guess I'd like to just see how these shake out in terms of, you know, you mentioned the Rome Yard. So how many potential affordable units are going to be in the Rome Yard as envisioned by the RFP, et cetera? And I'm not looking for an answer.
Okay, there's
today.
just over 800 there.
Affordable?
But again, yes. There's over 1,100, close to 1,100 total, and that's a mix of housing. There's townhomes and there's other multifamily in there, some condo as well, I believe, but it would be 800. So that would be a large tranche when that comes online.
Right. So, you know, just over the next, 3 to 6 months when you all are brainstorming like this, just throw us a piece of paper that says, here's 800, here's 500, here's 1,000, and just show us, how we hope to get to that 10,000 number. Thank you.
Mr. Carlson, you're recognized, sir.
Thank you. Just a few quick things. One, following on that, one thing we also, I think, have to do is look at the net numbers. So the North Boulevard homes, how many units were there before, and then how many are we going to get from those two projects that replaced it together? And then, although Tampa Park Apartments was privately owned, that's what, another 700 and something. And so where are we kind of net compared to those two big projects that went offline?
I don't have those numbers with me this evening. I don't think we were prepared to directly discuss that, but we can bring that back.
My numbers probably won't be right, but I remember something like 1,200 at North Boulevard and 700 or 800 at Tampa Park. So that's like 2,000 that we have to replace without. So we went negative, and now we're going back positive again, trying to catch up, and then we'll go positive after that. The next thing is, and you kind of touched some of these things, but just to reiterate for anybody watching, I think we're all friends with Karen Clay, who's a disability activist, and she always wants us to add the word accessibility. For Karen and all the many other people out in the community for whom that's a huge issue, as Karen reminds us, all of us will need accessibility at some point. Can you just tell us how much of these units are accessible, and how accessible are they?
You mean ADA accessible?
Yeah, I think it's not just.
Accessible?
Yeah, I think the way she talks about it is that it's not just for specific ADA requirements for certain disabilities. It's making sure they're accessible for seniors and others. Is there a certain allocation for certain ADA categories? Sorry, I'm not an expert on this, but or how are there any accessibility features that are put in any of these units?
Several of our projects are senior projects, and they do have those accessibility elements. I don't believe that we have direct earmarks for those types of populations, but I'll let Kayon speak to that.
Yeah, I was just going to jump in. So this year, because our SHIP allocation, it won't come out of our federal pot, but because our SHIP allocation is a little bit larger this year, we're actually going to put about $500,000 towards special needs projects for owner-occupied rehab also, knowing that we can put some of that language that you're referring to in multifamily agreements, but thinking about those who are really aging in place, how do we kind of get them to be more comfortable? And so we're putting about $500,000 in that RFA for owner-occupied rehab. It's not yet completed, but we will be putting one out for different agencies to be able to help support that.
Thank you. And the senior housing in that, in the North Boulevard area, that's what, 200 units or something like that? So it's.
Mary Bethune?
What'd you say?
Mary Bethune?
The,
Thune High Rise.
is
Yeah,
that the
Mary
one?
Bethune.
Okay, how many
It's
units?
just behind the Renaissance, right here at West River.
Yeah,
It was 190 units,
190.
Rayon, right?
So I was 10
Yeah.
off. Good. So, but that all
and
has
then
some
Madison
accessibility
Highlands.
components, right?
Right, and then Madison Highlands, that's currently under construction, has 120 units, and then they're preparing to do phase 2 of that development as well. They got some additional funding, and they're pursuing that. So
Great.
there are, and what's nice about that is it also gets mixed with, you know, non-senior, and that allows a lot of times for those social relationships and partnerships to form between the residences in those areas.
Great. Two other quick questions. The budget you showed, it doesn't include any CRA money, right? So the
No,
CRA,
sir.
the CRA money, just for anybody watching, the CRA funding for housing, affordable housing is going to be on top of all that. So that's in the separate CRA meetings. And then the big question, you hit on this in different ways in your presentation, but the big question a lot of folks in the community are asking is, what are you all doing different? And although this is the mayor's plan, administrative plan, I think that, you know, city council has been supportive in the things you all are doing here, but the public looks at it as all of our plan. You know, what are we doing? And the big question they have is, what are we doing different than before? What have we done differently in the last 2 years? What are we planning on doing differently going forward? And you answered it in long detail, but is there a kind of a short answer to that we could give the public on, you know, what's the theme of what we're doing differently and how?
So I think for the last 2 years have been tough because of COVID. I will say that. Last year, I mean, that really took our focus, just trying to help people to remain stable. As we continue on and we're really going into upcoming years and even currently, we're called Housing and Community Development, and really we want to continue to develop the community. And so we aren't really as in the community as I like us to be. And so we're starting to set up where we're in the rec centers and going out to the community, understanding that people might need the help, not know about the help, but how do we go to them to bring the help to them if they can't come to us? And so we're looking to do a lot more community engagement so that we can get everybody who really needs the program to the program.
Great, thank you very much.
Ms. Vera, you're recognized, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate that. You know, and one thing to build on that I was talking with some parents over at the McDonald's Training Center recently, such a great Tampa institution, is independent living for people with disabilities, intellectual disabilities, developmental disabilities. For, you know, you're a parent raising somebody with special needs, autism, Down syndrome, and intellectual disability, cerebral palsy, whatever it may be, and you're going to have that inevitable date when they're going to move out. And do you look at a group home? My brother lives in a group home, New Horizons group home, that my late father helped build like 25-something years ago. He lives there half the week, the other half the week with my mother, but not everybody is as lucky as my brother Juan. So that's something that you know, has to be uniquely, when you're talking about special needs, you have senior citizens, you have, you know, people with physical disabilities, et cetera. But what about those people with intellectual disabilities whose parents either were never able to care for them or no longer can care for them? They're 30 years old, their parents are 65, 70, looking at the September, the October, the November of their years. What about that? That's something that you really, really have to hit on, and I'd love to, and I know my wonderful aide Brandon's watching. Brandon, let's set something up on that if you don't mind. You know, but for me, this affordable housing crisis and workforce crisis that we're looking at is just kind of, as the saying goes, that it seems these days that the middle class isn't closer to the top, it's closer to the bottom, and people desperately trying to get into the middle class are finding it harder and harder to get there. That's what, you know, the apprenticeship ordinance was all about, trying to create that pathway to the middle class for people, and sort of a pushing back, and this is on a larger scale, but on something that we've seen for 40 years, I would respectfully state, in this country, where we turn our backs on working people and we turn our backs on government programs and laws and regulations to help working people. Look at the fact that even after the Affordable Care Act, we still have 30 million Americans without health insurance who, if they get sick right now, can't afford to go to a doctor, including in the state of Florida, where 750,000 people don't have health insurance because we don't take Medicaid expansion money. The minimum wage buys in inflation-adjusted dollars 40% less than it bought in 1968. The average CEO earned about 30 times what the average worker in 1950. Today, it's about 200-300 times that. You know, we continue to see that pulling away from the middle class, pulling away from the working class and blue collar folks, and pulling and continue to have what Michael Harrington called the other America, further and further separated, and our collective efforts to help those folks are maligned, disputed, and continually attacked. I think this is the result of that. And when we see runaway housing prices like this, you know, it's further putting away dignity from the hands of working people. But I support everything that y'all are doing. I think it's so important, and I just wanted to thank you for that. Thank you.
If you don't mind, Mr. Chair.
You reckon up, Citro?
Ladies, I thank you very much for this wonderful report, and I'm looking forward to this coming to fruition. Just because you have a roof over your head doesn't make it a community. Are we also taking into factors, we hear this over and over again, food deserts? Are we going to hopefully get grocery stores close to these affordable housings? Are we going to make sure that schools are open? Look at the West River. You have Dunbar and Just Elementaries. Hillsborough County is thinking about closing down one of those schools. When we get the flood of people moving back from that area, are we going to have schools available? Are we going to have green spaces? Are we going to have places for our children to play in? So I hope we're looking at the whole picture and not just a roof over the head. Thank you again, ladies.
And Councilman Citro, if I may just respond to that. I mean, I think from my experience in the planning world of that, you know, I never look at a unit as an affordable unit. I look at a unit as a home. I mean, and it takes all kind of homes to build our community. And a lot of times, you know, Kayan and I have even talked about the NIMBYism and some of that goes along with affordable housing, and how when we have a lot of it in our city and you would never even know you were right next door to it. So, I mean, that's our goal, is to have that integrated and just be a part of our community like any other home. I mean, we never even talk about it, I guess, in that sense, because we see it as just being a part of our community and fitting in, whether it's rented or owned, or it shouldn't matter. Those services and those neighborhood serving uses and the items, schools and parks that make us a community should be present throughout our city to serve all of our residents.
I knew we had the two right people working on this project. Thank you again, ladies.
Mr. Vieira, you recognize.
Now I wanted to add something to that, if I may, and thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the indulgence. You know, one thing that I think Abby, you has touched on is the idea of affordable housing and you know, being in different kinds of neighborhoods. Something else that we've seen that's really come out of the closet, so to speak, politically in the last year or two, and it just angers me and frustrates me, is the demonization of workforce and affordable housing by certain political figures who make racial and cultural appeals that are I want to say they're beneath us, but they're not, right? Because a lot of people go for that. But you know, we have to fight that. We have to fight that. I remember one time talking in my district to some folks on some apartments that were coming, and they were frustrated and this and that, and they said, well, is the city gonna pay for some what was it they said, for some video cameras because of crime going up? I said, buy your own damn video cameras. You know what I'm saying? Crime's not going to go up. That's just, you know, things like that are founded upon, I'll be diplomatic, bias, and we need to fight that, which is that everybody deserves a helping hand. Everybody deserves that ladder up, and affordable and workforce housing is part of that. But just, you know, tragic how these appeals over the last few years, especially, it's been with us for a heck of a long time, but you know, things that people used to whisper, now they yell. And it's that's another thing that folks got to struggle with. So just wanted to say that. Thank you.
Anyone else? Well, ladies, you both know how I feel about affordable housing. Keon, we missed you the other day on the ride-along. Wish you were there. I think some of the folks that were in the van had some eye-opening experiences in what they saw. Well, that's what the everyday people who live in those places see. When you see nothing, you're looking for some hope. You're hoping that somebody will make a change and make a difference. But when I look at the housing programs, I look at why is it not working as fast enough? What's the holdback? You know, like about a month ago, we all had a conversation in the conference room about some of those holdbacks. Keon, you're right. You know, if I don't know about something, how can I better myself if I don't know? Our community engagement is very bad when it comes to affordable housing. There are some good programs within the housing department. Some folks that possibly can qualify, but they don't know. Conversation I had with the mayor. We have some housing counseling programs, but I got a piece of bread on top. I've got no meat in the middle. Some people get fortunate to get an end result. We have to fix the middle. Because if I go to a housing counseling program, folks, and I finish the program, get my certificate, and I'm making calls to find out, well, what's the next step? Who helps me next? How do I get to step B? To get to step E for the piece of bread up front, the middle, and the piece of bread at the end to close the sandwich. And I talked to the mayor about that, and she concurred. We're right. We're missing that middle piece. If we're truly going to help people, we've got to make sure that we have a follow-through with the whole process. I think that's a point that we're missing a little bit, the follow-through. If I throw a ball to Mr. Miranda and trying to get it to home plate, it's got to go past the pitcher. If I'm coming from the shortstop to get the home plate, who's catching it? So that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the engagement, looking for the middle piece. But when I look at some of these numbers, I still don't see where it's going to be a driving force to help a lot of people. Because a lot of this is subsidized dollars, gentlemen. A lot of it is subsidized dollars. And then we miss that middle piece that Mr. Vieira sometimes talks about. They get left out. So where are the dollars that we talked about, some impact fees, some other things, or some money for a trust to be able to help those other folks? See, we're never going to be able to solve the problem if we don't fill in the gaps. We have gaps. And we talk about housing stock. Well, I look at some of the dilapidated apartment buildings that we have. We should be trying to have meetings with some of these developers to see how we can come up with a plan to how we can help with maybe tax abatement, maybe some other incentives to where maybe they can buy Columbus Court or Central Court. Those buildings are very, very old. Johnson Kingdom Court, well, it's called Silver Oaks now. Those places need to be developed and maybe go up a little bit more because the density. Now they asked you to stop, Mr. Dingfelder. Now people have good plumbing, like Timber Falls doesn't have, Mr. Vieira. Getting another management company going in, well, what the hell are they going to do? Are they going to do the same? Are they going to go put the money to invest to give people good living? Or are they going to live in Fiji like me and Mr. Vieira have seen last week? So we can talk about what we want to do, but at the end of the day, give me the solution with the action plan to do it. I know you ladies have been working very hard. And sometimes I ding you real hard, but see, I know the problem in your units. You don't have enough people to do what you got to do. I mean, let's face it. I talk all the time. You know, if I got a building that needs work, I need workers to get it ready. You don't have enough workers to get it ready with some of the programs you already got existing. That's why I always talk about we have to make sure that you have workers to get it out there to the people. So my thing is, okay, how do we communicate to the people if you ain't got the workers in your department to get the communication out to the people? How do we do that? How do we find those folks that are in that gap? You know, I see these numbers, but, you know, when I look at housing stock, me and Abby drove around. I wish we could have drove around. We saw all these different lots that are abandoned. Well, all this other CDG money, we need to be having a nonprofit to go do a survey of this whole area to see who owns all these lots that are just sitting. Why are they just sitting? Grass growing all up, no one's taking care of them. What are they waiting on? Are you eventually going to build on them? What are you doing? You waiting for a gold mine? Some of these old buildings that are sitting, let's go out and talk to the owners about these old buildings. How can we contain that to make housing, grocery stores? That's how we move the needle a little bit, being innovative and say, okay, we need a person or an outsourced person to do this. You talk about East Tampa? Well, we need a plan for East Tampa. You know, the CRA is going to have a street, but we need a true plan for all of it. Zoning-wise, for an overlay to see, well, do we want a place for entertainment, make sure where these things go, not just people just come and put stuff in there and the place still looks a mess. You can't go to Davis Island unless you got certain areas you can do certain things. Can't go to South Tampa in some of these areas. Only certain things are going to go there. It's no different in the other marginalized communities. No different in Sulphur Springs. So I think what the council is looking, especially what I'm looking for, when you talk about rehab, see, we had extra dollars that we have allocated for that, and you had those mini grants I told you about. Mr. John needs just a roof. He may need a ceiling, but now he don't have to go through 20 pieces of an application to try to meet every criteria. And he's 75 years. I don't know where that piece of paper is, Miss Abby. I don't know where that's at, baby. I don't know. I can't, you know. So I tell you, I'm just gonna give on up and whatever it's gonna be. See, that's what I hear. That's what I hear. But I don't want to hear that anymore. I want to hear programs. Even if there are many programs that say, okay, Miss Susie only needs an AC unit. Why does she have to go through 20 pieces of a checklist to get $4,500 to get her AC? Because, you know, she's 80 years old. When it gets hot, me and my family funeral business, when it gets hot, a lot of people, older people, expire when it gets hot. And when it gets cold, they do too. These are the things I'm talking about. See, it's not always the big things that make the difference. It's the small things that make it happen. The small things. Because Mr. John is so happy. If I could just get, Miss Susie is so happy. Baby, they finally gave me an AC. I ain't have nothing. I'm barely making, but they were able to, I was able to sign this paper here with a few things, and I was able to get me an AC. They have it in my house. These are the things I'm talking about, folks. The small things will make the difference. So, these 203Ks, people don't know about that. They don't know what that is. Another form of rehab. Well, some of these houses, you don't need build a brand new house. There are a lot of houses all over in East Tampa, the north end of town, that we should be looking at. Again, another outsourced job or whatever, some of these funds, to say, you go out and you look at these houses that look bad. Miss Susie just died. She's 80 years old. The house is sitting there. It's sitting there. It's been sitting there for 10 years, and now I got squatters and everybody in the house. Where somebody went by there, well, who owns the house? Let's find a way to get through the red tape of if the houses are foreclosed on, we can't find the owners or a trustee. Let's find a way that legally we can do what we need to do to be able to obtain those kind of properties, fix them up, and then put people in them. Or flip them back, bring the money back into the trust fund. What do we need to do? Out of the box thinking, folks. That's all I'm asking. I know we don't have a lot, but we've got to find a way to make some of these out of mind things come to reality. And these are simple things. Again, they're the small things. Anyone else? Mr. Dingfelder, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for your your passionate and eloquent words. Inspirational. So what do we need to do as a city to be more serious about attacking these issues? And I don't mean, ladies, that you and your people aren't serious, but it all comes down to money. Because we have the will, we just don't have a whole lot of money. And this came up at the AHAC meeting the other day, last week, and we were talking about this $80 million. It's 80 million, $81 million that the city will be getting. And it does not seem to have a whole lot of strings attached, and it could definitely be used for affordable housing. So I'm going to suggest to this council and to the mayor and anybody else on staff who's listening that perhaps we take half of that money.
Yep.
$40 million to go into that trust, to go into these housing programs. That can make a huge difference.
Everyone's calling about that money, Mr. Dingfield. Everyone's calling about that money.
Yep, everybody wants a piece of that money, but I can't imagine a better place to spend half of it than on affordable housing, because then we're really putting our money where our mouth is. And I don't have all the answers on how we could use that money and specifically what programs and that sort of thing, but I'm sure that Ms. Henderson and Ms. Feely and all the people that work with them can come up with a lot of creative and fantastic programs, not just programs for today, but programs that will roll over. And Kayon, we were talking about this in the meeting the other day, because I don't believe in just taking, oh, here's a bunch of money, let's fix it today. No, let's create programs that carry over and that allow that money to roll on and roll on and roll on and continue to help and support this community for many, many decades to come. We put $40 million, put our money where our mouth is. We'll get noticed all across the country. I think that it could probably generate a whole slew of private contributions, people who want to match it and step up and say, okay, the city of Tampa is serious about this. We could put it into that trust, that housing trust, and go great places. So, you know, I know we need to work with the mayor and work with the administration on this, but at the end of the day, I got a feeling that 7 of us are going to have a very, very big word in how that $80 million is spent. And I think that there's nothing better that we could spend half of it on than this. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Carlson, you're recognized, sir.
Yeah, thank you both for your great ideas and comments, and I know you're supposed to have the last word, Mr. Chair. Maybe you'll have a second. Maybe we'll have a second last word. But one, I asked the question earlier. The public's asking what's changed in the last 2 years, and there are 2 big things that have changed. One is that there's a priority of focusing on the difficult issues like affordable housing, and instead of tearing down affordable housing and building market rate housing. Number 2 is there's a focusing on the difficult things that somebody said this morning don't always lead to a ribbon cutting or a press conference, but they're important issues that have to be addressed with money and time, unlike frivolous things like $12 million boathouses. So those are 2 big things that have changed. But the other thing I want to say is for any of the business people watching, what we're talking about is a social issue. It is a humanitarian issue, a social issue, but it also is a business issue, and it is an economic development issue. And you know, I've sat on the board and executive committee of the Tampa Chamber, Florida Chamber, and we talk about issues like this. And you have to look at the economic numbers, and the council allowed me a few months ago to present the TampaScorecard.com with the dean of the College of Business from USF. And what he says is our economic strategy cannot be to say, thank God for Miami. And what that means is that of the top 6 cities in the state, we come in 5th on almost every economic number. And why is that important? As he says, in USF Business School is in the middle of all kinds of decisions that are being made by companies that are looking to locate here, small and large. And the companies these days have full access to information. They have access to the best data on our community, better than sometimes we see. That's why it's important for us to see the real data. And what they see is that our community has not performed as well as it should have in the last 10 years, and it especially not performed well compared to our peers or compared to our aspirational group of peers. And a couple of things holding us back. One is our poverty rate, and another is our home ownership rate. And if I remember correctly, state average is about 65% home ownership. St. Pete, just to put in context, is 58%. Tampa's 48%, and I think African American home ownership is about 42%. And so what happens is these big companies, Amazon or whatever, they'll look at our community and they see these numbers, and sure, they can look at it on one hand and say, well, maybe we can get cheap labor. But what they really do is look and see, where's a well-rounded community where we'll make an investment and move to. If you don't have a well-rounded community, what it means is you have to give subsidies. You all remember 10 or so years ago, the county commission, and I argued against this, but the county commission gave $6.25 million to Bass Pro Shops to locate in the Brandon area. And what happens is you subsidize companies if you don't have the right product. It's better. All the top innovative economic development people say we need to build a community that will attract companies that we don't have to subsidize. And the way they justify, I didn't agree with it, but the way they justified Bass Pro Shops, we put $6.25 million, and then over time we'll get paid property taxes. Well, the people that we pay, if we help somebody $5,000 or whatever it is for a down payment assistant, eventually they're going to be paying property taxes on their property, and we need to look at the long-term return on investment in these things. For businesses also, if your employees have to live an hour away, you're going to end up having to pay them more. We already have wage inflation going on right now. Do you want to pay them more because of the time and commute? Do you want to have frustrated employees coming into work every day? And also, what does the community look like for your best and brightest people who you want to attract from other cities? If you look at the data and everything, it's difficult sometimes for really smart people to move because they don't see the numbers they should. And so the bottom line on this, I could talk forever, but is that it is a social issue, it's a humanitarian issue, but it really also is a business issue and an economic development issue. If we do not address these issues by putting a relatively small amount of money in, our economy will not take off the way it should. Thank you.
Well, ladies, let me say this. That CARES money has already hit, correct? We still waiting on that, or do we have that already? The CARES money?
As far as, I'm sorry,
do we already have that money, or has it been dispersed yet?
Which money? The 80 million?
Yeah, the 80 million.
No.
American Rescue Plan money?
Right. Yeah, has that come yet?
I do not believe so. I believe we're getting a first allocation, but that's not, I mean, in what we're presenting to you tonight, these are our federal funds that are coming in for our housing programs. That's a second pot of money that will be handled differently.
Right, I just want to know how that hit you. Okay. All right, gentlemen, any other questions for the ladies?
I think we do need to hear if there was any public comment.
Right, we're going to get to that. Mr. Shelby, you recognize?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. Martin Shelby, City Council Attorney. Council, I would just ask before you take the public comment, for the purposes of the record, if you could just waive the rules to adopt the CMT guidelines that have been set forth in the notice and in the agenda.
Motion to waive. Was it Mr. Maniscalco, then Mr. Vieira? Okay, all right. So Mr. Vieira and Mr. Carlson. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. Public comment. Anyone on the second floor to talk on this item? We have any staff on the second floor?
Would you like me to go downstairs?
Yes, Mr. Shelby, I would hate to have somebody down there we don't recognize them.
Thank you. In the meantime, are there any people who are registered?
Anyone registered?
No one has registered.
All right, we'll give Mr. Shelby a few seconds to run down that just so we can keep that house cleaning going on. Brian, did you have something to say? You need to be recognized, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of council. After we check for public comment, if I may, I will just ask for a motion regarding the adoption next week of this plan.
Thank you, sir. So Mr. Shelby comes back, we can get a hold of that.
Mr. Chairman, Martin Shelby, there is nobody to speak on the second floor.
Thank you, sir.
You look lovely on television.
Mr. Maniscalco has moved it. Mr. Vieira has seconded. I think we need a roll call on this.
Miranda?
Yes.
Dingfelder?
Yes.
Carlson?
Yes.
Maniscalco? Vieira? Citro?
Yes.
And Goods?
Yes.
Motion carried unanimously.
Thank you, council.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Mr. Maniscalco, Mr. Shelby? Ms. Maniscalco has moved to close the public hearing. Mr. Vieira has seconded. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried.
Brian, you still there?
Yes, I am, Councilman Dingfelder.
There was no requirement to read the title or anything like that, was there?
No, we will appear before you this time next week with a resolution for adopting this plan and approving its submission to HUD. At that time, we'll have the proper formalities to get that done.
Thank you.
It's actually on your morning agenda on the 5th.
Yes, it is on the regular council agenda, yes. Thank you, Abby.
All right, thank you. Mr. Shelby, anything, sir?
Just to receive and file, please.
Motion received by Mr. Maniscalco, second by Mr. Citro. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We stand adjourned.
Shake that thing, baby. One time for your daddy. I love it. You cooking with gas. Honey, you working. You got the pots on.